Hey guys, what is going on? So I did a Q&A on Instagram and I got a lot more questions than I was expecting, so I figured I would answer them on this video. I can't address everything, but some were more popular than others. I got some, multiple times, so I will address those. The first one I'm going to talk about is probably the one that I've got the most recently, and it, is very important, and that is, does Gorilla Mind have a Black Friday sale? And yes, they do. I think it will be over the course of a week, so it's not just going to be like one day, and going to be some pretty good deals. So I will make a separate video on that, but a lot of people asked me that, and there will be one, which I didn't know right away when I was getting those questions, but yes, there will be one. So again, I will make a separate video on that. Another question, favorite supplements to combine with Turk or Ecdy for muscle growth? I'm assuming you mean like, things that are going to directly benefit you in terms of gaining muscle. And in terms of natural supplements, there's really not many that are going to move the needle all that much, to be honest. And that's why I'm so excited about like Turk and Ecdy, just because I think as far as like just taking a pill and getting results, that seems to be the closest thing that you can do that's natural. And based on other things that I've tried, it's like miles ahead of things like laxogenin, epicatechin. I've tried those things, didn't really notice much of anything from those. And if you just mean something along the lines of like a protein powder, obviously protein is necessary, or potentially like a weight gainer if you're not getting enough calories, I would not recommend that, but it's something that I do use from time to time just because I'm very lazy and it's very hard to get enough food in for me. So ultimately, sleep, diet, training are going to be your main things that you're going to do. And honestly, as far as like a supplement that's going to help you, maybe cortisol blocker from Gorilla Mind, depending on how much you would need it. I guess that could be a vector of muscle growth. But again, Turk and Ecdy is probably the main thing in terms of like a standalone supplement. So next one, best apparel brands. I'm not a super stylish person. I don't really care that much about clothes. Obviously, I'm pretty biased towards Young LA just because I know a lot of Gorilla athletes promote it. I see it on Instagram all the time. I think it looks really cool. Personally, I've never bought it, so I'm not really that big into clothes. That's why, I've never even had a company like want to sponsor me or anything like that. But if they did, I probably wouldn't take it just because I don't really care that much about clothes. But I think Young LA is really cool. I think the Get Better Today brand, which is Russell Orh's brand, I think that's pretty cool. Those are ones that I see a lot of powerlifters wear that are kind of in his circle. Obviously, Young LA is probably one that you guys all know, but Get Better Today, that's a pretty cool one as well. So I don't own anything from either of those brands just because, like I said, I'm not a huge clothing guy, but those are cool brands. Next one, how did you get sponsored by Gorilla? I get this question a lot, and I don't know if it's because people are just curious from like my story or if they just want to replicate it, because like if you look at the the comments of anything with Gorilla, it's always like sponsor me, like everybody wants to get sponsored by Gorilla Mind, and it's something that I kind of dreamed about, but I never thought that I would actually get it. Ultimately, the way that it happened for me was basically I started talking about their stuff on my YouTube channel. I did it for several months. And I was just talking about stuff that I was taking. Obviously, the main one being Turkesterone. Talked about that for several months. Eventually, I had my Turkesterone review pop off. It has 60-something thousand views at this point. And I don't know for sure if that video got me, a code, but I think it did. Like, that would be my speculation. So I got a code pretty shortly after I posted that video. I actually got a code on July 4th. And then a month later, I ended up getting sponsored, went exclusive. And yeah, so basically I just promoted their stuff for free. And it wasn't intentional. I wasn't like doing that to get sponsored. I just genuinely liked Gorilla Mind. And I was like passionate about their products. They worked for me. I liked them. So I talked about them a lot. And I think Derek saw that as like a genuine enjoyer of his products. And he's talked about it in videos before when he's kind of mentioning me. I don't know exactly what I did other than just promote the brand, but obviously I have a very small following, so I think people are pretty puzzled as to how that all happened. And I still don't know 100% myself, but I am very grateful for the opportunity because it is my favorite brand that exists. So, next one, what brand are your glasses? Even though I'm not wearing them right now, they are Zenny, which is basically the cheapest brand that I could find. That's basically what I do, is I just will get like the cheapest, like t-shirts, cheapest, glasses, stuff like that. Trying to be a little more frugal out here, and I ended up getting those glasses, I think, during the pandemic, because I almost always wear contacts in real life, but when I'm at home on my phone all day during the pandemic, I decided to get some blue light blocking glasses, and that's what those are. And they're from Zenny, and I get a lot of questions about what brand they are. I guess people like them, but yeah, Zenny. Recommendations on BPC 157. Who's a legit distributor? I've only ever tried 2 brands. The one that I've been going with recently is Amino Asylum. Derek promotes them. James English promotes them. I know other powerlifters at this point that promote them, so it just seemed like a no-brainer to go with that. At the time, though, I didn't know. The first time I ever tried BPC, I didn't know about Amino Asylum, but now that's where I go for my BPC. In terms of recommendations for it, there's this guy, I can't remember the name of his channel. You can just probably Google like how to do BPC. I don't want to recommend it to anybody because I don't really know that much about it. Like, I think it's one of those things because it's a peptide. It's not like super well known, but it's something that I used in a pinch when I had a very bad hip injury that was like ruining my life, making me immobile. And so I just decided to pull the trigger on that. I probably would have never tried it if I wasn't like desperate for a solution. And now I don't use it like regularly, but when I need it, I use it and I love it. So Amino Asylum, you can use code JAM, I think for sure works. And then for Derek, I think it might be MPMD. I don't know. I'll go check his Instagram page. Do you lose gains coming off of Turkesterone? The only time I ever came off Turkesterone was when I had that hip injury that I was just talking about. And I did lose gains because I wasn't even moving. My legs were like shriveling up. I talk about that in my Turkesterone like ultimate review, the one that has all the views. But I did lose a little bit of muscle there. I don't think it was because I came off Turkesterone, and quite a few people have reported that they have kept their gains. I think it's just like anything else, like with creatine. If you were to be on creatine for like a few weeks and you came off, you probably wouldn't make any gains. That would stay. But if you were on creatine for like months or years, you would keep those gains, right? If you came off. So I think it's a similar concept there. When and how long do you work out? When do you do your videos? I guess this is not a common question, but I work out usually for around 2 hours, and I usually do my videos on days off if I can. Otherwise, there's just way too much going on in terms of noise where I can't really get it done. So for me, I'm actually doing it right now after work, just because I wanted to address this as soon as possible because those questions were kind of mounting up. This is from the same person actually. Bottom line, let's say you have to choose between Turk or Ecdy. For me, it's Turk. Turk works better. That being said, as far as recommendations for other people, Ecdy seems to be more consistent in terms of it gives more people results. Although I do think that Turk can provide better results if you give it an adequate dose, but that also is a little bit cost prohibitive. So Ecdy is a little bit more common in terms of actually getting people results, as well as you can dose it lower and therefore pay less, but you might not get like the same gains, but you'd still get pretty good gains for a better, it'd be more cost effective. So Ecdy, I would say for other people as like my blanket statement of recommendation. For me personally, Turk seems to work a bit better, and that's what I'm currently on. Let's see. How long have you been using Gorilla Mind products? It was, I just passed a year using them, I think yesterday. My first product was actually Turkesterone. So Nitric was the one. So for me, all I knew the brand for prior to getting Turkesterone was their pre-workouts. And I'm not a huge stim junkie in terms of like I need a ton of caffeine. So when Gorilla Mode Stim, which is now known as Energy, when that was out, I was like, I'm probably not going to get that. Gorilla Mode I wanted to try, but when I learned that Nitric was a thing, I really wanted to get Nitric. And I can't remember if it was like really out of stock or if I didn't have the money for it or something like that. But I ended up like postponing getting nitric for whatever reason. And Turk was the first product that I got. And then I ended up just like getting a ton of stuff around this time last year, like their EAAs, like their post-workout. And I just started trying like everything basically. So it's been a little over a year of using Gorilla Mind products. I got a lot of questions about the cortisol blocker. I will just kind of direct you to Derek's video. Just Google Derek or More Plates, More Dates, cortisol blocker, and he has a video discussing that because he would, you know, be much more in depth than I am. Let's see. Have you tried using Naringin along with Ecdy or Turk for enhanced absorption? Yes, I have, and I still do it from time to time, although not like all of the time. I do have videos on that, so if you I'm sure if you search Cooper Doran, Naringin, Turkesterone, it'll come up. I can't remember exactly what I said about it, but it did seem to help, I'm pretty sure. So that's all I can really say about that. I got the idea from Vigorous Steve. That's how I first learned about it. So I've also gotten a ton of questions about Gorilla Mode or Gorilla Shroom. I can't remember. I think it's called Gorilla Shroom. I made a whole video about that, so that's a pretty recent video. I discuss my experience with that. Nothing has changed in that regard. I very much like it. Again, cortisol blocker questions. I also get the question a lot, what do I do for work? I work at a restaurant. I am a barback / server assistant. So I'm the only barback at my job. So it's kind of unique where I do stuff in terms of just helping out bartenders, I suppose. And then I guess I just help out servers as well. So I'm kind of like support staff. A lot of people think I'm a server, and then I'll like correct them and they just have it in their mind that I'm a server, which technically I'm not. But I work in a restaurant, support staff, barback, server assistant, stuff like that. So I basically just do like heavy lifting and stuff like that and dirty work. And it's not too glamorous, but I get a share of tips from a variety of people per night. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully I don't have to do that for too much longer. I don't have any plans on, you know, what else I would do, but I'm getting pretty sick of it, to be honest. So, lots of questions about shroom, lots of questions about cortisol blocker. So I'm going through those. What do you do for a living? Just answer that. You know, a lot of questions about Turk and Ecdy. I feel like I've answered a lot of them, but a lot of it kind of boils down to, is Turk better than Ecdy or whatever? Again, what I said previously, I think Ecdy is more cost effective in general, and more people seem to respond to it. Turk seems to be a little more hit or miss, and it's not to say that it would necessarily be this way if everybody took a good dose, but not everybody takes a good dose. And I understand that because it is more cost prohibitive. But overall, it seems like people who have run like a good amount of Turk and a good amount of Ecdy, if you respond to both, it seems like Turk gives a pretty noticeable boost. Like it's significantly better than Ecdy. In a lot of instances, not all, and a lot of people respond to one or the other. So it's just it varies so much. But for me, Turk is better, but I have access to both. So it doesn't really matter all that much. Black Friday, again, I got this question a lot, answered it initially. Let's see. That is, as far as ones that I've gotten a lot of, I think that's pretty much it. So hopefully that answered any question that you guys have. I think the most relevant one is kind of the Gorilla Mode or Gorilla Mind sale for Black Friday. So that is in fact happening. I will make a video probably discussing. I will absolutely be talking about Instagram. And for anybody who, you know, obviously these questions came from Instagram. But for anybody who is curious about like sales, like for example, there was a Gorilla Mind sale today. I update on Instagram, but obviously I'm not going to like make a dedicated YouTube video. For example, the cortisol blocker went on sale today. I talked about that on Instagram. I didn't make a direct video about it. I have talked about the cortisol blocker in the past, but I didn't make like a restock video. So if you're interested in like Gorilla Mind products restocking, Instagram is going to be most likely where I talk about those things. But again, I will probably make a Black Friday video, but I will definitely be updating via Instagram as well. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I'll keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.